Hey, there we are. Look at that. Oh, Hindle's here. Let me turn this on here. All right, look, we're here. It's a different episode of 91 Reasons. Welcome to 91 Reasons. I am your host. I am the voice. I am Jeff. We are live on Periscope right now. So there's, at this point, 17, 18 people joining in. So it's a grand experiment. We're going to see how this works to see if, because normally I do this show completely alone. I shut the door. I don't look at anybody. I don't interact with anybody. I try not to look at anything. Thank you, Doc Brown. So it's weird because when I have guests over on the show, sometimes when I'm talking, I don't look them in the eye. I look like straight through them, and I know some people have gotten like, oh, you weren't looking at me when you were talking. I'm like, no, it's all right. I'm listening, but my focus, it's weird. I have to change this if I'm going to have a lot of guests on the show, because my focus is this mighty microphone, the Hindle Yeti microphone special, and so I'm like, if just so you guys know, like this. Hi, Madison. This is who I'm talking to, the listener. The listener is this microphone, and I try to. To me, it's a person, and when I talk, it's about, I'm engaging somebody. It's not a monologue. It's a living, breathing conversation is what it is. So we're gonna see where this goes and whether this really works or not. But thanks for joining in, everybody. We have 21 people so far. I wanted to talk about 80s movies, because that's normally the topic on the show. And jumping off point, somebody throw out a movie here, and let's see where it goes here, to see how interactive we can be. So we have 21 people, double phone. Yeah, I'm recording it on the microphone. Peanuts red carpet premiere, or somebody asked. I wasn't invited to the red carpet premiere because I'm not that high up in the company. I'm the lowly lackey. Real Genius. We're doing Real Genius next week or so, or hopefully this week. And Labyrinth is another one. I can't talk really in depth about Labyrinth because I actually have an episode coming up with a producer of the movie coming on the show with me, which is really cool. Goonies. Let's talk about Goonies for a second, because whenever I go back to, if you're listening, you're still listening, let me know who was it that suggested Goonies, so I can give you your name on the show. But am I sad about Not Scary Farm? Not really. I mean, it's over. It's fine. Madison wanted to know if I was sad about Scary Farm. Not really. I mean, I get my life back, so I'm fine with that. And if the phone starts to make noises during the show, we'll just have to deal with that, because there's nothing I can do. Yeah, Back to the Future, I was there. Okay, Adam. Thanks, Adam, for Goonies, because we're going to... we're talking about Goonies for a second. Oh, you saw me in the Knots thing today. Thank you. Hopefully it doesn't become a catalyst where I have to appear every day as the medicine man in the park. But, we'll see where that takes us. But anyway, like Rick West, I'm drinking straight tap water, so I won't be getting stoned this show. Anyways, listen. Summer in 1985 was, it's weird, I read an article, and it said that the movies and the events that shape who you are as a person are when you're between the ages of 13 and 14. And I was like, that's ridiculous, because my favorite movie is Back to the Future, which came out when I was between 13 and 14. So maybe the study was correct. But summer in 1985 was, oh my God, that was my year. I mean, that was the year that I really became independent and started to the number 3. Oh, I see. I have more. Rick is giving me a test, a primer on how to. He's the expert on Periscope, not me. He says there are 33 subscribers watching, but there could be many more actual non-subscribers watching. So summer 1985 was the year, like, I started to become independent. I could ride my bike wherever I wanted. Oh, he's drinking. Yeah. Rick just put up all these martini glasses. Yeah, it is dark, isn't it? Maybe I should put another light on. When Rachel comes in, I'll have her turn some lights on in here. But I started riding my bike from Norwalk to Lakewood to go to the movies. And I I just fell in love with the movies. Here comes Rachel.
I was called?
Yeah, can you screw in another light bulbs? It's not bright enough for people.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's better. So, I would ride my bike. Now, you're talking about a 45-minute to an hour. Yeah, that looks good. 45 minutes to an hour bike ride to get to Lakewood Mall. So, I would journey out about 10 a.m. and catch a noon movie and then be back by about 4 or 5
Hi,
o'clock.
everyone.
There's Rachel. Yes. And I went to every movie that summer. Oh, Bright Light, Bright Light. We're not doing that. Gremlins is year before. But, God, I loved all those movies that year. And you have to understand, this is when movie marketing meant you got to buy the collector's magazine. And I had the Back to the Future and the Goonies collector's magazine. And I photocopied them and I hung pieces of them on the wall and I carried them around until the covers completely fell off and the magazines fell completely apart. Oh my God. And then that summer, like, Back to the Future took over because I went and saw it again and again and again and again. But it's hard to deny the boyhood crush I had on Andy Green, who played... Cary Green, who played Andy in the movie Goonies, man. What a... And she only did that and Three for the Road and Lucas and, like, then vanished. I don't think she's even in show business anymore. It's just funny how some actresses manage to stick around and some just fade away. But, yeah, Goonies was great, man. It's got Robert Davey and Joey Pants and all of the kid actors that we know so well in the film. And the late, great John Matuzak as Sloth. Yeah, I know. Rick saying magazines. I mean, remember how great magazines used to be? I used to go to the magazine rack and get whatever movie magazine, and then I would get Starlog and Cracked and Mad and you name it, man. Full Metal Jacket. That's a great movie somebody just mentioned. I could probably meet Cary Green. Yeah, I don't even know where she's at. If I had my choice, I would rather meet Catherine Mary Stewart. Oh, Fangoria too. Yeah, Fangoria magazine. I had a lot of Fangoria magazines, but yeah, no. Here's the always thing I'm always saying about movies is like they're a snapshot of who you were at that time. What was somebody just asked? What was Berg's favorite movie? Whatever one Jeffrey was saying that day to get him out of the house. That's what Berg's favorite movie was. Oh, go to see Back to the Future again. I can tell you, that Canadian Jew, Michael J. Fox, is in that movie. So, there you go. It didn't take 8 minutes for Berg to make an impression. But, and then, if I didn't catch the movie first run at the theater... Oh, Weird Science, too. That's another... I mean, 85, you're talking about Breakfast Club, Weird Science, and Back to the Future, and Goonies, and Explorers. Oh, my God, there's so many good... Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yeah, what a fantastic movie. Cameron Crowe. Cameron Crowe's undercover piece for Rolling Stone turned into a movie by Amy Heckerling. Fantastic, right? Oh, were you not at Scare LA, Greg? He's saying watching me do Berg is pretty funny. Yeah. Oh, Better Off Dead, another classic. That's a Savage Steve Holland movie. Better Off Dead. He also did One Crazy Summer, both with John Cusack. Both feature really good animation. If you've seen him in that, a lot of them are way over. Yeah, well, it's true. A lot of 80s movies are overrated, but they have that glossy sheen, I'm telling you. Glossy sheen of nostalgia. And you cannot discount that glossy sheen of nostalgia to make even a crappy movie fantastic. I mean, Explorers is not a very good movie, but I have good memories of it because of the time frame that it came out. I mean, the aliens at the end, the whole movie falls apart. Enemy Mine is a Glenn just suggested Enemy Mine. I need to do a whole episode on Enemy Mine. Princess Bride, I don't have fond memories of that one. I know that people love Princess Bride, but I don't. It doesn't have a. You know what? Maybe I just don't like Adam. No, what is his name? Fred Savage? I don't like Fred Savage. Yeah, you know, nostalgia will be in HD in a few years. That's very funny. Volunteers. Volunteers, a great movie. John Candy and Tom Hanks. That's where he met his wife, Rita Wilson, you know. Tim Burton Blu-ray collection was just picked up for $20 on Amazon, somebody says. 7 movies. Oh, that's great. Tim Burton's early stuff is fantastic. Yeah, Rick is agreeing with you on Princess Bride. I don't know. It's not my... If you want to pick that genre of movies, I'm going to always take Legend and Labyrinth over Princess Bride in a way margin. Just because they have more fanciful elements. That's nothing to say bad about Mandy Patinkin and what's his name? Inconceivable! I mean, those goes this fantastic Wallace Shawn. Fantastic. But somebody's slamming the Tim Burton collection. But no, Princess Bride's never... you know what it is? I've never been a Cary Elwes fan. Like, I get that he's had a big career. He was in a lot of movies. But to me, like, since I didn't get Princess Bride, it didn't translate into liking him in his other movies. And, like, he's so smarmy and Twister. Yeah, he's just, like, I don't get it. It's not my deal, not my thing. And was he in the first Saw? Didn't he launch that ship of 1,000... savage acts committed on the audience, right? I don't know, but what else we got? Yeah, it's okay to love Princess Bride. You know, it's a. See, there you go. Greg says, I saw Princess Bride in the theater and loved it day one. He was between 13 and 14. The pattern fits. Gordon wants to know about Ferris Bueller. Fantastic movie. I saw Ferris Bueller 2 weeks before it came out on one of those blind sneak previews. I didn't know what it was about. And, oh my God. I mean, you find out it's a John Hughes movie, so right away it's fantastic. I mean, I'm an unapologetic John Hughes fan. So, Ferris... Now, you have to get past the idea that Ferris Bueller is... in his universe, he's perfect. And 1408 room. Remember that question. Ask me as soon as I'm done with Ferris Bueller. That's a great question. So, Ferris Bueller, if you can get past the idea that in the Ferris Bueller universe, he's the greatest guy in the world, then you'll enjoy the movie. Because if you can't buy into Ferris Bueller being the greatest guy in the world, you're not going to buy the movie. The whole movie falls apart. But that being said, I saw Ferris Bueller before it came out. They gave us a button that said Leisure Rules on it, and I wore it to school. I think I told this on the John Hughes episode, but a guy, like, seriously was like, hey, I got a question for you, Jeff. What are the leisure rules? And I said, no, that's leisure rules, not these are the leisure rules. And it doesn't work that way, yeah. And it featured, as Rick just said, the Yellow song, oh yeah, boom, chicka chicka, right? And I mean, who didn't have a friend like Cameron? Like, in my world, Cameron was David Mandela. Because David Mandela slept in the dark. I mean, to the point that we played the movie with a tape recorder. And you know how... when they call Mia Sarah's house, they get a number to call another number, and they get, you've reached the Coffin Brothers mortuary. That was David Mandela's answering machine message. Oh my God, that was so funny. Yeah, Cameron was great. And the other funny idea was that Alan Ruck and Matthew Broderick had just come off Broadway, where they were in Biloxi Blues, so they had a connection, and it shows on the screen that they're friends, you know. That really comes across. Now, somebody, 1408 Room, wanted me to explain what a sleeper movie is. A sleeper movie, back in the day, it meant a movie that did not open at number one at the box office, that did not tear up the records, but just came out and made a lot of money over a long period of time. In modern day, the biggest sleeper film is, it's not a good film, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Because it opened to little fanfare, to mediocre reviews, and some guy's just doing propaganda on here. It opened to little fanfare, mediocre reviews, but it just kept playing in theaters until it became the highest grossing independent film of all time. Like, that's completely amazing, right? It just, again, like Titanic, everybody knows Titanic because it opened big and it was number one for like 16 weeks. But there are all these sleeper movies that come out, and they don't do Yeah, exactly. It should be put back to sleep again. But they don't do big box office business except for the long haul. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to do that now because the way movie theaters are, if you don't make a gazillion dollars on the first weekend, you're out. Your screens are out. Just look at what happened to Tomorrowland this summer. I mean, it came out, it laid a big turkey at the box office, and then it was not in theaters anymore. So if Tomorrowland had been a good movie, which it was not in any way, shape, or form, if it had been a good movie and had a little buzz and play a little longer, you could call it a sleeper hit. But again, like somebody just said, it doesn't exist in this day and age of the internet because movies are either hit big or they're Tomorrowland's the best film. I hope you love it, Colby. You're the only one. Not my thing. But it's hard to manufacture a sleeper hit. It just has to. It has to be organic. They try to platform movies nowadays. Instead of sleeper hits, we get platform movies now, and that's where it. Oh, hi, Josie. Welcome to Periscope. But you platform a movie. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Colby. Thank you. Colby's admitting it was terrible. But, oh yeah, no, Tomorrowland, I mean, did a whole episode. What a missed opportunity there. Everybody blew it on that one. But they platform movies now where they release it in a few theaters. They're going to do it with Revenant. The new Leonardo DiCaprio movie is going to be platformed. It's going to open in New York and L.A. just long enough to be eligible for Oscar buzz, and then we won't see it in our Cineplexes until probably late January, early February. That's just the way it happens. But yeah, you don't need to see Tomorrowland, Tim. You don't need to see it. Just listen to my episode, and it will turn you. It may make you want to watch it. It may. I mean, Tomorrowland's the movie equivalent of Spoiled Milk, where somebody goes, "Oh God, this is terrible. Smell this," and the other guy's like, "Oh my God, you're right." I'm the kind of guy that goes, "Look, I believe you. If you tell me it smells bad, I believe you. I'm okay with that." You know, I don't need to go see Pixels for me to know that it's bad. Oh yeah, Oscar bait movies really do often suck. That was Kiki, I think. But oh yeah, I mean, a bunch of Oscar movies come out and they're prestigious and they're important and you ever heard of a movie called Beloved? Beloved, a movie with Oprah Winfrey and Danny Glover about the South after the end of slavery, and it's about ghosts, and it was directed by Jonathan Demme, and it was supposed to come out and win every single award and won nothing. English Patient doesn't count. English Patient won Best Picture, didn't it? I mean, that's terrible. The movie I always bring up is there's a movie. See who can get this movie first without Googling. No cheating. You can see that I'm not Googling. Glenn Close, Meryl Streep, Jeremy Irons, Antonio Banderas, Winona Ryder, massive, important movie about Civil War and the rebels rising up and overthrowing the government and families torn apart, and nobody even knows what that movie is. And it's called The House of the Spirits. And Bonfire of the Vanities is important because it's a mega Brian De Palma bomb. But House of the Spirits I always point to because how does a movie with that many people get made, marketed, released, and nobody has any idea that it even exists? You know why? You know why? Because the video store is dead. Because the only way movies last now and remain in our consciousness is through Walmart and Target and Netflix. And if they don't appear on those platforms, they are in the vaults and they're gone. And Walmart and Target do not have enough shelf space to keep enough movies to really show what the makeup of movies is supposed to be. You're just getting the hits. It has to sell a certain number of copies. Exactly. Somebody just is mentioning My Super Ex-Girlfriend. Another mass. I mean, that's directed by Ivan Reitman. It stars Uma Thurman and Luke Wilson, and nobody even remembers that. My Super Ex-Girlfriend, right? Oh yeah, no lack of promotion. It's not that it's not that it doesn't have legs, Chris. It's because movies are not allowed to marinate in the theater anymore. They're either massive hits or they're out. They're either the Avengers or look at the Avengers Age of Ultron. This is a movie that made over $1 billion at the box office, and Disney is still calling it a bomb. And it's the death of the video store, because I'll tell you, man, I just went to FIE a couple of weeks ago, and there's nothing better and nothing more educational than walking the aisles of a video store and seeing the different movies that maybe are... Netflix is only going to suggest the movies that you like based on your previous decisions. Oh, you can Google Age of Ultron. There was 2 or 3 articles about how Disney's considering it a bomb. It's a bomb because of what they paid the actors and what the special effects cost, and a movie that now has to be an event, and it has to stop traffic for it to make any money. Yes, like Jurassic World. You know? You're not missing anything, Rick, by not saying Age of Ultron. It's not very good. Look at what's coming up. The sequel to Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass. I know, Infinity Wars, coming soon, is supposed to cost like $600 or $700 million to make. That's unbelievable. Movies shouldn't cost that much. You know? It shouldn't cost that much. It should be comparable to what it's gonna make. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ultron would probably grow on me too, Diz Geek Podcast. But, is that you, Daniel? But I'm not gonna sit and watch it enough. Because it's too long. Other than the first 30 minutes, the rest of it's schlock. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Yeah, Greg's saying, remember when Titanic was the most expensive movie? I know, and think about Titanic. Titanic was such a risk when it was made that Fox had an auction to auction off everything from the film to try to make some money back before the film came out. Had they waited, they would be now running the Titanic Museum. Oh, it's Josh. Hi, Josh. I'm sorry. Not Daniel. But, hold? Greg is saying hold. I don't know what that means. Oh, gold mine. Oh, yeah, if they had just waited. And here's the problem now. The number 1 movie of all time is Avatar. And the tragedy is there are no props from Avatar. There's nothing you can go see that's tangible. Oh, it is Daniel. There's nothing you can see that's tangible from Avatar because it's all made in a computer. It'd be like going to the Toy Story Museum. Oh, I agree. Avatar was completely mediocre. I liked it better when it was Dances with Wolves. And it had real people and real emotions. And it wasn't... you could do 9 hours on Avatar. But really, he managed to defeat the big boss monster by just flying higher and dropping on top. That's it. Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't anybody think of that in the millions of years that the Na'vi were living on Pandora? They could sell the green screens. Here's the actual green screen from Avatar. The bidding begins at $10 million. Right? Unbelievable, right? Nothing's real anymore. We went on the Universal Studios tour, and that Fast and Furious thing was the silliest thing I've ever seen. 2 giant movie screens, and the tram rocks back and forth, and they spray you with water. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, this is an episode. It's gonna go on the feed. It's weird because it's gonna be a disjointed episode, but we'll see what people get out of it. And we may never do it again, or we may just do it as a Periscope. I don't know. But that Universal Studios ride, that Fast and Furious ride, and Fast and Furious and the Minions and the King Kong one, they make you put on 3D glasses and then they spray you with water. Whose brilliant idea was this? You got to take the glasses off and wipe them down and then put it back down. Oh, that's over? Oh, I missed the ride? Well, thanks, Universal. Oh, yeah, no, the uncanny value is real, and it's going to be a long time before we accept any CGI characters as 100% real. And here's what's going to take. Here's what it's going to take for us to accept that a CGI character is real, and I mean like Jar Jar Binks or Gollum. Then they're going to have to stop showing us the behind the scenes. They're going to have to just pretend that it's a real thing and have it do interviews and all that. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, no, that you're totally right. Jeff is saying that Fast and Furious is just like King Kong, and it is. It's the same trick. And let me tell you, jumping back to Fast and Furious, the biggest lead up to a ride I've ever seen, it was like 10 minutes of arguing faces, and oh my God. Yeah, imagine, okay, and we're jumping back. This is great. This is like a conversation, a round table. We're expected now, when we buy our Blu-ray, that all those extras have to be on there, but the extras sometimes ruin the movie for you. And you're so busy worried about what's real and what's not that the minute you do that, you're out of the story. You're totally out of the story, and they've lost you. And that's unfortunate, but I don't know how you do that, because it used to be that just us movie geeks would buy those magazines and learn how to do all the special effects and how it was done. And most people just were like, wow, I've never seen anything like that on the screen. Greg is saying that the Lord of the Rings extras ruined it. And I mean, it did. Remember the first time they showed you how some of that forced perspective was done? And you learned that it was like little people as the hobbits and tall people, and it was how they were placed. Like, it was interesting, but I was like, oh, see, to me, the hobbits were real, and now they're not. And now they're not. And they're talking about Serenity. No, I like the effects of Serenity. I mean, we've done a whole episode on Serenity, so you know my opinion on that. I enjoyed that. It's irritating that they never had a Firefly model, but, you know, what are you going to do? Jeff DePauli is saying, no more secrets revealed. You know, that would be interesting if they did that. If they did a movie that they just refused to tell you how it was done. That would be interesting to see if that worked for people, or if it just pissed. I think if they did it and they talked about how we're just going to keep the secrecy of the film intact, that people might flock to the theaters. Practical effects are always going to be better than CGI effects. It's just the way your eye works. You know what I mean? It's just the way your eye works, because you know, like, it's a magic show. You're looking for it. You know it's not real, and you're looking for the cracks in the armor. That's just the way it goes. You know, yeah, again, those magazines and Cinefantastique and Cinefex were what made me the geek that I am today, because I learned that the things that I liked could be done. And yeah, we're just talking, if you want to talk about a modern day representation, Mad Max Fury Road is a perfect example of, you can do it practical, and you can enhance it with CGI, but you can tell that there's no substitute for a real person in a real situation really acting, as opposed to a ping pong ball on a stick, you know? And you're right, Jeff. If David Copperfield, after he finished his show, decided to take you backstage to show you how it was done, it would lose all its mystery, you know? I'm reminded of the scene in Inherit the Wind, where Spencer Tracy says, man will learn how to fly, but the birds will lose their magic, and the sky will smell of gasoline. And that's the trade. That's the trade. Now, I haven't talked. Somebody just asked me about the new frame rate. Remember when The Hobbit was released in that really high frame rate? And you know what? I didn't go see it. I'm ashamed to say I didn't get it. So I can't even. I didn't see it, so I can't speak to it. I know that when I worked at the video store, that there was a movie called Julia with Kathleen Turner that was shot on video, and people would bring it back in the store and throw it at us because it didn't look like a movie. It looked like a home video, and people hated it. And I'm told that's what The Hobbit looked like when it was released a couple of years ago. But I didn't see it, I'll be honest with you. I saw it on home, and I didn't even see the other two. I had so much fatigue. And and talking about the new gimmick, I mean, the new gimmick obviously is 3D movies. I don't mind 3D movies. I don't see a lot of 3D movies. I'll always see it flat if I can. The problem is not the 3D that gets me, it's the tinting on the glasses. Because if the theater's cheap, and you know AMC is cheap, they won't turn the projector bulb up bright enough to overcompensate for the tinting so that the color looks normal. So they're dark. They're all dark. All the movies are dark. And that's not movies. Unless it's, a Tim Burton movie. But even those have light and bright. Right, yeah, no, we're seeing Star Wars in 3D because there's no option. It's either see it in 3D or stay off the internet until you see it. You know what I mean? And then you're screwed. Then you're totally screwed. So, yeah, God knows what kind of episode I'll do when Star Wars comes out. Please, I'm begging the movie gods, please let it be good. Please let Star Wars be good so I don't have to get on here and go, oh, man. I'm hoping. Kiki, not seeing Star Wars is not an option. And please don't suck is true. That's just the way it is. What are we going to do? Not see Star Wars? That's not an option. I've seen every Star Wars movie in the theater, including that ridiculous Clone Wars animated movie, which was one of the longest movie-going experiences of my life, even though it was only 80 minutes. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you're kidding me. I feel like I've been in there like 4 hours. And I do have my tickets, yes. Glenn and Shay were kind enough to, God bless them, waited overnight to get those tickets. Yes. Yes. Yeah, can anybody tell me on the Jimmy Kimmel Show why Harrison Ford was dressed as a hot dog? I know the man has dignity. I don't understand. Why was he dressed as a hot dog? I don't understand. I don't get it. Somebody's asking me, did I see Back to the Future 30th? As you can see by the banner behind me, that's the 25th anniversary banner from the theater. But I did a whole week of Back to the Future activities, but it didn't include seeing I saw part 2 on the big screen, and when Doc says it's October 21st, 2015, 4:29 p.m., I was in the theater exactly at 4:29 p.m. when he says it. So that's pretty darn cool. And I can thank the fine people at We're Going Back for arranging that to the minute. Wait. Somebody just said Harrison Ford has no dignity because he was in Ender's Game. And you know what? I'm gonna applaud that because I agree with that. What a ridiculously bad movie that was. As if we couldn't guess the twist of Ender's Game 5 minutes in. Seriously? Oh my God. It's just a simulation. Sure it is. Sure it is. Because what's going to happen? We're going to do 90 minutes of a simulator, then they're going to thrust him into the war zone? No. They blew it on that one. Totally blew it. And it could have been great. I hear the book is fantastic. But it doesn't help when you're a month out of for a big movie and the Scott Orson Card, is that his name, starts bad-mouthing everybody and you're like, oh God, what do we do? No, Adam, we have not forgotten Cowboys and Aliens, one of the worst films I have seen in a long time. That's way up there. Cowboys and Aliens is as bad as Tomorrowland because expectations were so big that should have been great. How do you screw up Tomorrowland? How do you screw up? It's in the title, Cowboys versus Aliens. Oh, sign me up. And then they're like, did you see this movie? No, I don't know if it's worse than Animated Clones. That's... But it's bad because the expectations are so high and you're like... I've told you, it's every time that the theater darkens, I want to fall in love. And the question now is, the last good Harrison Ford movie, I couldn't tell you. Has he been in a good movie since what? What Lies Beneath? Has he done one since Air Force One? Greatest 1997. No, Indy 4. I wouldn't bring up Crystal Skull on this show. I'm getting together with Park Fanatics and Rick West at some point to do the entire Indiana Jones saga, so we'll see that. But Greg, we are old. Air Force One was 1997. The one with Anne What's-Her-Face. Anne Heche, 6 Days, 7 Nights. That's like 98. Like, you're going to 2 prior decades to even find a watchable Harrison Ford movie. So, yeah, you're right. If we can honestly say that there was no Indiana Jones 4. It's like a bad dream. It didn't happen. It wasn't there. Like Men in Black 3, done. But what lies beneath from 2000, 2001, I would arguably say that's the last good Harrison Ford movie. You know, Robert Zemeckis, Michelle Pfeiffer, and an interesting script. And the first time Harrison Ford, spoiler alert, the first time Harrison Ford dies on screen, and the first time he's the villain, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, no, as far as everybody's concerned, Crystal Skull didn't happen. I mean, it was so unbelievably bad. What a misfire. Hopefully, now that Disney has control, they can give it to somebody who really treasures that character and wants to do something great with it so that we can get the one we deserve. And is it going to be a reboot? They keep saying no. But you saw what they're doing with Die Hard, right? Die Hard's going to open with Bruce Willis, and then they're going to flashback. So you're going to get 2 John McClanes. So I think that's what's going to happen in the next Indiana Jones movie. I think we're going to see him there, and he's going to, like Rick says, pass the torch to another actor to be Indiana Jones. And the way it's going, it's either going to be Chris Pratt or Bradley Cooper. But at least we can be thankful that it's not Channing Tatum. So 1408 is saying Haunted Mansion needs to be remade. It is. Guillermo del Toro is working on it at some point. But I know they've been working on it a long, long time. So I don't know if we're ever going to see that Haunted Mansion reboot. But we'll always have Eddie Murphy. We'll always have Eddie Murphy. But see, the thing with 007, and I've said this before on the show, Indiana Jones is the closest we have to an American James Bond. And like James Bond, they just switch actors. They don't even, other than On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where George Lazenby looked at the camera and said, this didn't happen to the other guy. They don't even mention that it's a new actor. So I think Indiana Jones should be just like that. They should just make an Indiana Jones movie. There's a new Indiana Jones, and that's Indiana Jones. And that's it. No explanation, no nothing. Because Harrison Ford is in his 70s. Tim Burton for Indy 5, says Aldo. No. Are you nuts? Can you imagine? Johnny Depp is Indiana Jones, and he's so crazy and wacky. I'm Indiana Jones. Nathan Fillion as an older Marty McFly. Nathan Fillion is Indiana Jones. I'd be all about that. You know, maybe Joss Whedon could take a crack at it, or Brad Bird. Harrison Ford's 69 on nearly 70. Good heavens. Nicolas Cage for Indy. He can't be Indy. He's already been, what's that? What are those movies called? National Treasure. Benjamin Cage. Benjamin Gates. That's his name in National Treasure. But yeah, no, somebody will take a crack at Indiana Jones, and they'll figure it out, and they'll solve it. Yeah, no, Ghost Recon is saying, if Indy came as Bond, would we have hypothetically get a new film every 4 years or so? And the answer is yes. And if Disney just turns the machine on like they did with Star Wars, you know, we're getting Star Wars Episode 7 this December. And then next year, we're getting Rogue One. And then the year after that, we're getting Star Wars Episode 8. I mean, there's Star Wars every year. There's going to be a Star Wars movie every year for the next decade. Young Han Solo, Young Boba Fett, Episode 8, 9, 10, you name it. Hi, Aiden. How are you? Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Oh, yeah, no, prepare for Star Wars oversaturation, Rick. It's already begun. Go to Toys R Us. Go to Target. No, somebody's asking me, are they going to end They're not going to end Star Wars. It's going to go on and on. They're just going to pass the torch. This movie is the last time we're going to see Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford. And then it's going to continue on and on and on with new actors and new this and new that. And for Disneyland and Disney Company, Star Wars toys and rides for the rest of our days. And if they're smart, and you know they are, that Disneyland Star Wars land, see, Colby has to go. Bye, Colby. That Disneyland Star Wars land is, the ride will feature screens so that they can change out for whatever the new movie is and make it fresh every 3 to 4 years. They're not going to build anything permanent like Pirates of the Caribbean. Not that they would do that anymore anyways. The age of that is over. But it's come. Oh yeah, Rick is saying the Star Wars. Star Wars everything. Star Wars this. They're going to buy everything. Hindle wants them to make the Brian Dolly movies. You know what? I enjoyed those. When I was a kid, I read those again and again and again. Han Solo at Star's End, Han Solo's Revenge. Those are great. And I also really enjoyed Splinter of the Mind's Eye, Alan Dean Foster. But who knows? New Spaceballs, somebody says. You know what? Rick Moranis has said he'd be up for it. And I, for one, I'd be happy with a new Spaceballs. Sure, why not? You know, it couldn't be any worse than we're being brought up the Star Wars Christmas special, which I own on DVD and is one of the worst things ever. Again, talk about something going on forever and only being 90 minutes to 2 hours. But, well, you know, somebody's saying I fell asleep during Spaceballs. I get it. You know, I totally get it. But it's just they're moments. Mel Brooks movies are moments in time there, you know, and that's the way it goes. You can get the Star Wars Holiday Special. See, I got it at a convention because I always go to the bootleggers because they have everything that's not available commercially, and you can get it. You know, Harry Potter Land. That's the big opening in March, and it's gonna rule the roost, man. Rule the roost, and Star Wars will have to play catch up unless it's amazing from the get go. But who knows, right? Somebody's asking me about Top Gun 2. You know, I'm not a Top Gun fan. I never have been. So whether they make a 2 or not makes no difference to me. I'm not a Tom Cruise guy. I never have been. I got angry at Tom Cruise when I found out he did a sex scene with Leah Thompson in All the Right Moves. And I've held a grudge ever since. Ever since. And that's the way it goes. Somebody's asking me about Battlefront. You know, I'm not a video game guy, but that Battlefront game looks pretty darn amazing. And Rick is saying that Harry Potter Land will open early in February. I think they'll open it the minute the paint's dry. They're going to open it. And Katie says she never liked Cruise either. Yeah, it's not... He makes good quality movies. I will give him that. But I am not a Tom Cruise fan, and that's unfortunate. But... what are you going to do, right? I loved Edge of Tomorrow, which you can't even find in the store because they renamed it Live, Die, Repeat. Yeah, Hendel's asking me about the Jar Jar Phantom Menace hypothesis. Now, I saw that as clickbait. I did not click it. It's saying somehow that Jar Jar is a Sith Lord and somehow pulling all the strings. I don't know. Hey, Rachel, will you get me a drink of water? Somebody's asking about Rick and Morty. My kids are into Rick and Morty. I don't know I don't watch a lot of cartoons, I'll be honest with you. I am not a cartoon guy. We just watched Inside Out, which I thought was great. But at home, like series, I don't watch a lot of cartoons. There's not enough time in the day. I sit and do this all day. So watching cartoons is not in the mix. You know, what are you going to do, right? I know, somebody told me I have to watch Rick and Morty because it's like Back to the Future, but what are you going to do? Well, I'm not going to end up going to a Harry Potter. I mean, if you thought Disneyland was expensive, wait till Harry Potter opens and it's $9,000 to get in the park. Woo, boy. Horror Chick 13 says she was drinking butterbeer today. Are you in Florida? Or are they serving butterbeer out here? You know what I mean? I don't know. You are in Florida, so you have your butterbeer in Florida. We went and we tried to get butterbeer, but they didn't have any. I didn't see Ash versus the Evil Dead. I bet that's great. I love Bruce Campbell. You know, who doesn't love Bruce Campbell? And old TV shows, absolutely. Yeah, tap water for the win. Woo! Everybody drink up. I met Bruce Campbell once. One of the nicest guys ever. I met him. He did a signing for Army of Darkness. So, yeah, no, I'll catch up on that. I have a lot of shows that obviously during Haunt, I don't get to watch any TV. So I have all the episodes of Heroes Reborn, American Horror Story, and Supergirl now being taped so that I can catch up at some point. But we'll see. We'll see how how it progresses. Because I unless I'm being assigned a movie for the show, it's hard for me to sit down. And don't forget, after this show, Rick West is going to be on Periscope at 9 o'clock doing his brand of theme park goodness with martinis. So you don't want to miss that. But Adam says Haunt was great this year. Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't do a lot other than host the announcement and Shepherd Clementine live a few times. So, but thank you. I didn't do a lot. Right now I'm focused on Christmas. That's my big thing. But any other things we want to talk about before we wrap this up? Scary Farm, not Haunt. Yeah, what's Haunt? I don't know what Haunt is. Okay, that's kind of like when you saw, like, remember when, like, to me it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. It'll always be Raiders of the Lost Ark. Then one day it's like, no, it's Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark. This idea that you can somehow, late in the game, change the name of something is absolutely ridiculous. It is what it is. It's organic. You named it first. So, what are you going to do? We're going to rewrite history here? No, we're not going to rewrite history. Somebody just asked if I'm writing one of the new shows. I can't talk about that on the show, whether I am or not. Gordon says he loves the Dukes of Hazzard. Man, I love the Dukes of Hazzard. I watched every episode of the Dukes of Hazzard. I even watched it when Coy and Vance took over, when John Schneider and Tom Woolpat had a contract dispute, and they uncovered the General Lee in Uncle Jesse's barn. Yeah, no, I watched a lot of Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, who didn't? Every guy my age tuned in because it had a car that jumped over riverbeds, and anytime the action slowed, Catherine Bach was there in her Daisy Duke shorts, coining the phrase Daisy Dukes. What's not to love, man? And Roscoe P. Coltrane, them Dukes, you know, I loved it. And Boss Hogg, and they filmed that at Warner Brothers, some of the stuffs. And when I took that tour, it was like some of this was used for Hazard County. Yeah, Cooter ran the garage. In fact, he still does, and he's angry over the rebel flag being banned. He wrote a big nasty letter on Facebook. I thought that was interesting, you know. Crazy Cooter coming at you. Yeah, I watched a lot. When I was young, I lived on the TV, man. I watched the Dukes of Hazzard and Knight Rider and Manimal and Riptide and you name it. You name it, man. Lived on the TV. And had all the toys. If there were toys for a show, I had all the toys. Love Boat, Different Strokes, Emergency, MacGyver, you name it, man. They're going to reboot MacGyver. Give me a break. Just come up with a new idea. Although they are rebooting Amazing Stories. And since it's an anthology, I'm totally okay with that. If we can get a 30-minute mini-movie, that would be great. You know what? Somebody asked me where I was. I am not in the Cafe 80s. This is my bedroom. This is my bedroom here. The Cafe 80s is very cold tonight with the weather. So, plus I wanted to make sure that I was close to the Wi-Fi emitter to make sure the show did not break down at any point during the broadcast. Oh yeah, no, I had this on my 80s TV show. Joel Polnicek over Blair Warner any day of the week. Blair was for people without imagination. Joel Polnicek was for we were educated. I have Amazing Stories on DVD. I just bought it. I don't think it's the whole series, but it's a whole chunk of episodes. So I picked that up because I love Amazing Stories. I can do a whole hour on my favorite episodes of Amazing Stories. What's the best episode of Amazing Stories? Is it Mummy Daddy, directed by Phil Janu, where the guy dresses a mummy, has to go to the hospital because his wife's having a baby, and he gets mistaken for a real mummy? Is it? Is it the one where the meteor passes overhead and the guy gets magnetized and all the metal starts flying to him? No, it's not. We're not doing this on a website. This is, if you want to listen to the other episodes of 91 Reasons, just go to iTunes or Stitcher or Podbay and search in 91 Reasons. Or is it Robert Zemeckis' Go to the Head of the Class, where Christopher Lloyd torments people and gets his head cut off and spends the whole rest of the episode headless. It's fantastic. Yes. Fantastic. Those episodes were great, and they pulled you in for 30 minutes and then let you go, and that was the whole story. And there's one on there, and it's fantastic because all the Universal properties are in it. Kit, the Hulk, Dirk Benedict, where a guy gets a remote and starts changing his channels. Yeah, this is a traveling show, as Rick said. We go to people, we're going door to door, spreading the word of 91 Reasons. I'm going door to door. Salesman! Like Pee-wee's Playhouse, right? Somebody just said they watched Halloween 3 because of my recommendation. That's what the show's about. If we can take a movie that's maligned like that and get you guys to tune in and watch it, then we've done our job, because it ain't great. This is the first ever Periscope show that we've done. If it's successful and it's, coherent, we'll do them more often, and I'll always announce them on the Facebook page. Somebody wants to know, can I talk about the 91 Reasons? The 91 Reasons, if you listen to the show, the 91st episode, that it's about the freeway. It's about driving on the 91 freeway and saying, you know what, if I had a microphone, I could do a show every time I drive home. But now I moved, so I'm closer to work, so I don't do that. So actually you get more episodes than if I was driving the freeway, so that works out. You should see, I've got, as you can see, like up here, this flickering, that's my fan. And Rachel is bundled up because she's cold. And says that
it's freezing in here. He keeps it like an Antarctica.
It keeps the brain going. Got to be nice, cold, and crisp. Got to keep it going. And we're losing subscription viewers every minute, but that's okay because we're going to wrap this up soon. Thanks, Ghost Recon. Some very complimentary stuff about the show. Rick's going to IAPA. When he gets back, we'll do the Indiana Jones mega show. Somebody's saying they love the Vegas shows. Thanks. We're going to Vegas in January. So we're going to Vegas. Don't miss TPA's Mixer this Sunday at Don the Beachcombers in Long Beach.
I'm looking for a ride. If anyone can take me. I'm in Buena Park, really close to Nos. Jeff can bring me home. Because
I work till 9. And normally, like, if I've done that where I've jetted out there after work and it's already over. So... Oh, Greg wants to join us for Indy. Of course, Greg. We'll do a whole round table. Why not? The more the merrier, talking about Indiana Jones. Let's make it a 4-hour episode. I'll chop it up. It'll be great. Why? Why not? Why not? Hendel's saying he'd give you a ride on the back of his motorbike. I put her on the back of my bike, see? We will riding bound by old man Johnson's farm. Yeah, bring snacks. That's a great idea.
I have 100 goodie bags made up left over from Halloween. So if anyone can get me there, they're going to TPA.
TPA. And I will send prizes with her. Yeah, Ghost Recon has given me some great advice about streaming and all that. You'll have to understand, I'm completely illiterate about all this stuff, so you never know. Rick wants to know, am I taking the kids to Vegas? I don't get to go to Vegas without the kids. They're as addicted to Vegas as I am.
They're not really kids.
I keep telling Rachel we're going to go on the link, the Ferris wheel, and she won't do it. So
scary.
I don't know what I'm going to end up doing. I have no idea. Okay, bye, Diz Geek. We're wrapping this up. We're at nearly an hour, so hope you dug this Stream of Consciousness episode and pawn the kids. I got a buddy who's an expert in pawning somebody's children. Let me bring him down here and we'll take a look. But thanks for listening, everybody. We're going to wrap it up. we got to get going here because I mean it's an hour episode.
And
but
we have another one to film. That's
and
not
another
live.
one later to do about Halloween and such. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Check us out on iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. Stitcher. Podbay, wherever you listen to. Some of the episodes are slowly being put up on YouTube, and you can check them out there at your leisure. You can support the show on Patreon if you want. You don't have to if you don't have any money. I don't have any money, so it doesn't matter either way. As long as you're listening, that's all that matters, right?
Yes.
So thanks for tuning in to the Periscope infused episode of 91 Reasons. It won't turn off now.
This is like staying after the credits.
Yeah, here we go. We're still on, and it won't go away. Stop the broadcast.